For as long as humans have told stories, we've spoken of strange places where the earth itself seems unnatural, pits without bottoms, caves that swallow sound, and wells that promise more than water. These bottomless holes appear in folklore across the world, often said to be entrances to other realms or gateways to something unknown. But in the late 1990s, a man named Mel Waters called into a late-night radio program with a story that sounded stranger than fiction. What he described wasn't an ancient legend or a forgotten myth. It was a hole he claimed existed on his own property in Washington state. The story of Mel's hole has since become one of the most enduring modern mysteries. Was it a hoax, a government cover-up, or something far stranger? On February 21, 1997, Mel Waters phoned into Coast to Coast AM, the popular late-night radio show hosted by Art Bell. The show was famous for its paranormal and conspiracy-laden topics, and Bell's audience was always eager for the unusual. Waters explained that he owned rural property near Ellensburg, Washington, not far from Yakima. On that land was a hole he'd inherited from the previous owner. It wasn't a mine shaft, he said, or a cave. It was a perfectly round, vertical pit in the ground, lined with some kind of stone or brick for about 15 feet before descending into pure darkness. What made the hole remarkable was its depth, or rather, the apparent lack of one. Mel claimed that locals had known about the hole for years. They would throw garbage into it, even dead animals, and nothing was ever heard hitting the bottom. To test its depth, Mel said he lowered fishing line with weights attached. He let out 80,000 feet of line, over 15 miles, and still never felt the line touch bottom. The hole, he concluded, was truly bottomless. To put that in perspective, the deepest mine in the world is a little over 2 miles deep. The hole Mel described would be beyond anything known in geology. But depth wasn't the only strange thing about the hole. Mel said that objects dropped into it didn't make a sound. Radios brought near the hole picked up strange signals and broadcasts from unknown sources. Animals, he claimed, were terrified of approaching it. His dogs refused to go anywhere near the pit, barking and whining if forced close. And then there was the strangest claim of all. A neighbor supposedly threw a dead dog into the hole. Later, that same dog was seen alive, wearing the same collar, running through the woods. After the broadcast, Mel told Art Bell that his property drew unexpected attention. He claimed the federal government seized the land under the guise of an environmental project, and that he was forced to leave. In one version of the story, he even alleged he was detained and offered a lease to move to Australia in exchange for silence. He implied that the government was studying the hole for reasons unknown, perhaps for its apparent anomalous properties. Mel Waters would call into Coast to Coast AM several more times between 1997 and 2002, each time adding more bizarre details. In one account, he said he lowered a bucket of ice into the hole, only for it to come back up transformed. The ice, he claimed, was warm to the touch and seemed to burn like fuel when set on fire. Another story involved lowering a live sheep into the hole. When the sheep was brought back up, it was somehow cooked from the inside, and inside its body, Mel claimed, was a strange biological entity unlike anything he had ever seen. Each new detail only deepened the mystery and, for skeptics, made the story harder to believe. The region around Yakima and Ellensburg is known for its rugged landscape, canyons, basalt cliffs, and volcanic rock. It's also a hotspot in UFO and paranormal lore, with decades of reported sightings and strange activity. Some researchers have suggested that Mel may have been drawing on older stories of supernatural pits from Native American traditions in the area, where caves and holes were sometimes regarded as spiritual passageways. Others point to the culture of Coast to Coast AM in the 1990s, a time when the airwaves were filled with stories of black helicopters, government experiments, and hidden technologies. In that environment, a story like Mel's hole fit right in. Strangely enough, little is verifiable about Mel Waters himself. No records confirm that he ever owned property in Ellensburg. Some researchers have searched county land records and found no evidence tying him to the area. To this day, Mel Waters may have been a pseudonym or an invention altogether. This lack of documentation has led many to dismiss the entire tale as a radio hoax, an elaborate bit of storytelling that spiraled into legend. Despite the doubts, speculation about the hole has flourished. Some of the most common theories include geological anomaly. Could it be a massive lava tube or collapsed cavern system extending miles underground? Geologists argue no natural structure like this could remain stable. Government experiment. Perhaps the hole was used for dumping nuclear or biological waste, explaining the supposed government interest. Supernatural portal. Believers suggest it could be a gateway to another dimension, an entrance to the hollow earth, or even a passage to the afterlife. Outright hoax, many skeptics see the story as pure fabrication, a piece of modern folklore that thrived because of late-night radio's reach. What's remarkable is how enduring the story has become. Nearly 3 decades later, people still search for the location of the hole. Amateur investigators have combed the wilderness around Ellensburg looking for evidence. Some even claim to have found similar pits, though none match Mel's description. In the end, Mel's hole remains suspended between belief and disbelief, too strange to dismiss entirely, yet too unverified to confirm. Whether a hoax, a misunderstanding, or something far beyond our comprehension, the tale of Mel's hole captures something deep in the human imagination. The idea of a bottomless pit, a place where things vanish, never to return, feels almost archetypal, like an echo of the underworld in modern form. Perhaps that's why the story still resonates. Because in the end, Mel's hole isn't just about a mysterious pit in Washington. It's about the human need to peer into the unknown and the terrifying possibility that the unknown might be peering back.